I truly wish everyone well with this. And I know how badly it's affected them because I know how badly it's affected me. It's not like I'm not one of the ones it was affecting also. This video particularly, this evening, I ran into a fellow sub. And I'll give the example like this. Let's say you're in a narcissistic relationship in a personal level. You're dating someone, you know they're not good for you. And one of your girlfriends comes up to you and says, you know, this guy you're dating, he doesn't treat you right. And most likely, the reaction you're going to have, and what any therapist would tell you is going to happen, is you're going to become very defensive of the relationship. So I wanted to make this video now. It's kind of impromptu because I do film a lot of authentic content in the moment, and this kind of warrants it. As you guys know, I've been posting content on my channel about the substitute teaching and how I was a Miami-Dade County public school substitute teacher. We were all fired and outsourced to Kelly Education, and since that has happened, pretty much we can't get days anymore of employment. This is due to a couple of things, as I'll just recap real quick, where you used to have a degree, then it was 60 credits, then it was an AA, then it was 30 credits. Under Kelly Education, you only need a GED. And between the competition to get a sub day and also these other issues that are happening where some of the other loyal subs over the years are still getting called, I'm not getting called so much, appearance, youth, there's been anti-Semitic comments at the particular school I work for. That's in part one of the reasons I believe I'm not getting called. These things combined have been all formed as the reason why the days have become, non-existent with the subbing. I've been posting about my experience subbing. I was under the Miami-Dade County system. Things were happening where emotional abuse was very common. Where you're not spoken to correctly by faculty or administration. And I would also I've talked about on this channel these stories that have occurred where I went through cancer screening. Thank God I'm okay. And, I had administrators saying it won't be so bad. And then they nudged me with their arm and they're like, lucky you, maybe you caught it early. And it was one of the most disturbing experiences I've ever had. I remember one of the teachers gave me a shove from behind because she wanted me to talk to a parent at dismissal, which was bizarre. It's like she didn't want to deal with it, so you go deal with it. I just had my biopsy done. I said, please don't shove me, you're hurting me. And then because of my frame of mind, instead of saying, just sticking to, hey, don't touch me, I giving excuses. I've had a biopsy and I'm sorry to tell you not to shove me, but I'm sore and please don't shove me. And this teacher, her response, instead of saying, oh my God, thank God you're okay, her exact response was, well, I guess it's all about the you, whoop whoop, because she knew I had been to the University of Miami. It's like, that was your response to someone saying they went through a cancer screening? And at that time, I did not know if I was negative or not. Thank God I'm fine. The days have pretty much become non-existent with the subbing, and I expect it'll end up being 1 or 2 days a month, so it basically trickles down, and then it's just a learning experience from the past. And a lot of you have pointed out I just need to move on, and I have been moving on. I have a second job that I adore, and I'm treated very well there, and these people have become my work family, and that is my priority. And so I have moved on, but a lot of this is processing what has occurred. And there's a lot to digest and heal from, because this has been an experience similar to narcissistic abuse and how you heal from those things. This is a place, don't forget, I've worked in this particular environment a good 4 years. So to just digest it all is a lot. But that's how we grow. And I think a lot of my past is the reason that I've dealt with these issues, codependency, and you become codependent to jobs. You become resilient. Like I will keep the job. It's all good. Universe has always had my back, and so luckily I've found this other job. And I love them there. They are really my work family. And this video particularly, this evening I ran into a fellow sub. And I'll give the example like this. Let's say you're in a narcissistic relationship in a personal level. You're dating someone, they're not good for you. And one of your girlfriends comes up to you and says, this guy you're dating, he doesn't treat you right. And most likely, the reaction you're going to have, and what any therapist would tell you is going to happen, is you're going to become very defensive of the relationship. How could you say that? You're just jealous, all that. So, unless we sometimes process things, which is very difficult to do, because, to be honest, it's very difficult to do, because it changes everything when you process things. You have to change. You may have to get a different job. You may have to break up with someone, all these things. And I had a conversation this evening with a fellow sub, and I actually mentioned them very briefly in one of my other videos. Not by name or anything, just that they're a fellow sub. In my previous video, I referenced that they had relayed to me that their days have also gone down. In other words, there's no reliability to the job anymore, although I do believe that they were probably being called in more than me, which is, I think, in part due to these different reasons that I've talked about. So, in the past, I mentioned that they've relayed to me that their days have been affected at the job. They're working less. And that I've seen them lately, and they kind of seem a little out of it. Narcissistic abuse, it affects you, obviously. You don't groom as much. It puts you into like a mental stupor, obviously, because you're not thriving. These are all the obvious effects of narcissistic abuse. And that she seemed kind of out of it. I mentioned, she was someone who, she had a reason to be at the school. She had her own kids at the school, that type of thing, as many of the subs do. And I mentioned in a previous video, even if she didn't need the money, when we have routines and something happens to change that routine, that obviously can affect your mental state, because you've taken away someone's routine. I don't know if this person needs the money or not. They probably do. Because quite honestly, as much as you may love the idea of, subbing and giving back and helping the next generation and all that, it's a rough environment. And that's why, most teachers in general are quitting. But I ran into her again this evening, and with the example I gave of someone who you approach someone, you say your boyfriend's not treating you right, and you get defensive. She approached me, and she indicated she has seen some of these videos, or she indicated she's seen my channel. I don't know what content she's seen or not. And for that matter, that's YouTube. People see things. This person mentioned that she's seen the videos, wanted to know if I had quit or not. I said technically not yet. I can still sub and pick up a day if I want. It's on the site, Kelly Education site. And that I indicated I am authentically creating content. I didn't get into it with her, but I'm, that's my purpose on the planet. I need to share authentic content, and as I share, a lot of you have been very helpful, and you comment and you tell me I need to find another career, and you guys are so helpful, and you're sharing your stories, and there's other subs on here that are commenting, and I create authentic content. What can I say? And she seemed, this sub, perplexed by the fact that I was creating content or being honest with myself of the situation. I felt like there was a lot she wanted to say to me, but didn't know what to say or how to say, maybe because my dad was standing there. She also indicated she was engaged in a petition to get subs more pay or something like that. And for a lot of you who have either worked in teaching or Kelly in the past, you know that that's not going to happen. They outsourced us for a reason, which was they don't give a damn about us, the school system. And Kelly Education can't give a damn either. They said they're going to hire as many subs as they can, all with GEDs, basically. But don't worry, Kelly Education will get you those Slurpee coupons, which they told us about at the transition meeting. Get some nice Slurpees at 7-Eleven. And she seemed very perplexed. She seems obviously affected, also the same way I'm affected. But there was also this feeling of denial of what has occurred to us subs. It almost seemed like, without saying it, what she would have liked to have said was kind of something, I imagine, was something along the line of, how could you be saying these things in these videos? I don't want to admit that the situation is where I have at best 7 or 8 days a month. And what I've said in my videos is don't forget, the transition has just occurred. They were just getting used to it. So what does that mean? As Kelly hires more subs and they get more used to it, your 8 days are going to become 2 days. And the only reason you may have had 8 days before is because they weren't used to yet using the system, and they still had to have subs show up at work. As they become more used to it, now that this is their first time using it, they even said that, some of the sub-callers were just getting used to how to use this site. As they become more used to it, your days will be down to 2, and then it may be none. And I'm pointing out a very uncomfortable truth. I am that friend that's basically saying the guy you're dating is abusive. And it's an uncomfortable thing to face. Difficult for her to face. That, of the truth of exactly what has occurred. We were outsourced. We were fired. The days are going to go down to virtually none. This person, obviously, I have my own finances to account for, but, when you have a family, it's even more complicated. And I'm pointing out this uncomfortable truth, and I guess I also have the courage to talk about it. Which is in part from a long history in my life of facing a lot of difficult things, and I've always believed in the universe that things will work out. This has all affected us, and it's affected everyone in different ways. If you have a family, it's affected you more. Paid more days. It's not gonna happen. The best thing we can do sometimes in these situations, I'm not saying to quit, I may go in a day here or there, is to accept what situations are for what they are, so that we can figure out game plans of how to move on and how to improve. I hope that all the subs who are affected by this, come out in a better situation, and that they hopefully over a time period find a better paying job to sustain themselves. Because I think it's going to get worse, where the more subs that they hire, your 8 days are now going to be 1 day a month. I truly wish everyone well with this, and I know how badly it's affected them because I know how badly it's affected me. It's not like I'm not one of the ones it was affecting also. But my content is always going to be authentic. And sometimes it's going to be super bubbly. And sometimes it's going to be me crying. And sometimes it's going to be tough content to listen to. But this is Nicole Approves. And one of my missions for this year, because that was what I was listening to in this podcast today, is to become as authentic as possible. And as this podcaster talked about today, transform my life experiences into content that could help others on this channel. But thank you again so much for always watching, for your comments, and for your loving support. I have YouTube channel memberships and Patreon. Thank you so much for always being here and for helping to inspire and guide me on my channel with your advice and your comments. And I will see you soon in my next video. And